Hi, welcome to Sewtangle Quilts in Whitestone, Virginia. I'm Marion, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for the snap bags, the gift bags for our Toys for Tots collection. If you're not familiar with that, I'll put a link to a description. It's either up above or down below. I'm not sure where it's going to go. That'll tell you all about what we're doing for Toys for Tots. Anyhow, these are the bags that we're going to be making. These are Christmas gift bags, and the cool thing, they're snap bags. So you pull them open, and when you let go, they snap close again. And I think they're really fun. The kids are going to really enjoy these, I think, because, you know, the kid in me really likes it. It's just a lot of fun. Another thing, if you have kids or grandkids that may be interested in learning how to sew, this would be the perfect first project for them because it really is simple to make, and then they can fill it with toys and donate it to Toys for Tots. So let's get started. You'll get a kit like this. Let's take it out. In the kit, you're going to have 2 pieces of fabric, and you're going to have these pieces of tape measure, and this is what gives it the snap. Okay, we're going to set those aside for now. And of course, directions will come in. I'm going to set it aside. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to be cutting these fabrics to size. And I thought that I would show you how I do it, because sometimes when you're dealing with larger pieces of fabric, it's a little bit more cumbersome than it is just cutting, you know, strips. So what we're going to do, we have the smaller piece is going to be the outside of your bag, this one. Okay, the larger piece is going to be the lining, this piece, or the inside, and it actually wraps around and be the casing and your handles. Okay, so let's start first with the smaller piece, or the outside piece. And the instructions say that we want to cut this to be 12 by 36. Okay, so what we need to do, we have to start, when you're cutting, you have to have a nice square edge. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll come over here on the right hand side, and this is if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, it would be the opposite. I'm going to lay my ruler down, and if you see this line here, I'm going to line it up flush with the bottom of my fabric. Okay, the fold is down here, selvage is up here. And I want to move it over. If you look here, see how it's not quite catching that fabric? So you need to move it over enough. Okay. So I've got it aligned here, and I have it far enough over that it's going to catch the bottom piece. And then we'll cut. When you're cutting, hold your hand about here. Okay. Put your finger on the top of your rotary cutter. That will help you be able to guide it. Put the blade out, put your blade up against the ruler, pushing down on the ruler, cut about halfway, and then you want to stop and move your fingers forward and cut the rest of the way. Moving your hands like that will keep the ruler from shifting. Okay, so now we have this nice square piece here. We're going to turn the fabric over so that that square is now on my left-hand side. Again, if you're left-handed, it would be on your right side. And we want to make this, it calls for it to be 12 inches wide. Well, my ruler isn't 12 inches wide, so I can't just set the ruler down and cut it here. That's where I'm saying it might be a little bit unusual. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn the ruler this way, and I want it to be 12 inches, so I'm going to line up the 12-inch mark along this edge. I'm going to take a pen. I like using friction pens because they do, when you iron it, they disappear, but this is going to be a cut line. It will never show, so if you want to use a regular pen or pencil or whatever you want to use is fine. I'm going to mark down here. Then I'm going to come back up here, do the same thing. I'm going to line up the 12-inch, and then I'm going to make a mark. Okay. Whoops. My pen didn't write. Let's start that again. Okay. Again, 12 inches and mark it. Okay. Come up to 12 inches here and mark. That worked a little bit better. Then we're going to line our ruler up with these 2 marks that we made. Okay. And it should be fairly square down here. And I've lined it up with the mark here and the mark there. And again, we're going to cut. Okay. Now we're going to turn it around and we're going to put the folded edge over here on my left. Because we want this to be 36 inches long, I have it folded, so I need to make a mark at 18 inches, half, okay? So again, the same thing. We're going to line our ruler up here on 18 here. I'm going to make 2 marks. Okay. We're going to lay the ruler on the 2 marks, and we're going to be, it should be here, and the marks are here. And again, we're going to cut. There. Okay, so that's, we've gotten the outside fabric to our measurements of 12 by 36. I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to take the second piece, the lining piece, and we're going to do basically the same thing. So I'm going to go pretty quickly through here. Again, I'm going to line my ruler up with the bottom of the folded edge, and I'm going to cut on the side. We're going to turn the fabric over. Okay, this one needs to be cut to 12 by 40. So again, we'll line our ruler up with the 12 here, up here on 12. Okay. And then we're going to line the ruler up with the 2 marks. So it's down here and even with the 2 marks. Make the cut. Okay, set that aside. So now we have it, it's 12 inches wide. We want this to be 40 inches long. So when you get ready to make these bags, something I didn't point out, you can make these bags any size you want, okay? The only thing you need to keep in mind is that you want the lining piece to be 4 inches longer than your outside fabric, okay? So that's why I said that this one we cut to 36. This one we're going to cut to 40. It's folded in half, so we're going to place the ruler on 20. Make a mark. Make a mark. Line the ruler up. Okay. And cut. Okay, so there's the first step, is getting the fabric cut. Now what we want to do, let me set my ruler aside. Okay. The next step we had a little bit of fabric left over. I forgot to do this. We need to cut the handles, okay? The handles are going to be made out of that lining fabric, and it needs to be 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So let me take my ruler. And this should be square because I just cut it, but let's just check. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to set my ruler. Let me just check. No, it's not square. Okay, let's try it this way. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to re-square it, okay? Again, like we did in the beginning, we're going to line the edge of the ruler up with the bottom of the fabric. Okay. It's not cooperating. There we go. We're going to cut it on the right side. That will be our square edge. We'll turn it over. Okay. And we're doing 5.5 inches. This time the ruler is thick enough we don't have to measure it this way. We can actually use the ruler itself. If you notice, here's the 5.5 inch. If your ruler looks like this and you don't have a 5.5 and you're using a Creative Grids ruler, just turn it around. Okay. So we're going to line up this bottom edge and line it up on the side. Okay. And if you notice, it's nice and square across here and across here. Again, we're at the 5.5 inch mark here. And we will cut it. Okay. Now what we need to do with this one, we want to cut the selvage off before we do anything else. So here are our selvages here, if you see, okay. We want to line the ruler up. It doesn't matter which number you're on. You just want to line this across the fabric far enough in that you're going to get all of the selvage. And it's on the right-hand side. Cut the selvage off. Okay. And we will turn it around. And we want to make it 5.5 inches square. So again, we'll place the 5.5 inch mark on the left-hand side. Line it up so it's nice and square here and there. And we will make the cut. Okay, so now we have two pieces that are 5.5 inch squares. Okay, the next step is we want to make the handles. So we're going to come over here to the ironing board. If you have one of these wool pressing mats, let me get my iron hot, they work really well for a project like this. You don't have to keep walking back and forth to your sewing machine. What we're going to do, we're going to fold the pieces in half, wrong side in the middle, so right side out. Okay. Press it. We want to press it pretty good because we want this to be kind of crisp. Okay. So we do one. We'll do the second. Okay. Then what we're going to do, this is the folded edge. This is the raw edge. What we want to do is pull this left corner down so that it's even with the bottom of the square, and it makes like a triangle here. And I put my finger here so I can fold it down like so, okay? And then being careful not to iron your finger, we want to press that down. And I'm going to give it a pretty good press. Okay. Again, folded edge here. We're going to fold it down so it's even down here. Fold this side down. And if it's not exactly perfect, see how this is not quite perfect? That's okay because this is going to be under a seam, so no one's going to see it. This end is the important end, okay? So again, we're going to press it. And then what I like to do, I'm going to turn them over and I'm going to give them a spray. And I'm going to iron them again because I want this to lay really, really flat. I want it to be very crisp and flat. Keep in mind that these are going to be really hot after you iron them, so be careful with them. Okay, so there we are. We got the handles. Okay, now the next step, we're going to actually start to assemble the bag. We're going to go back over here, okay, and we want to lay this out, and we want the wrong sides of the fabric to be together, which is unusual. We usually do right sides together, but so I'm opening it up. This is the lining piece, the bigger of the two pieces. Got the right side facing down. Here's your smaller piece, okay. We're going to do it with the right side facing up so that the wrong sides are together. Now, because we made this piece 4 inches bigger, we're going to have 2 inches on each end. And what I like to do is take a smaller ruler here. Okay. I'm going to lay this down here so that, can you see how it's on the 2 inches right here? Okay. So now I know where to put this fabric. We're just going to put him up, butt him up against there. Okay. And then holding both pieces, I'm going to pull the red piece so there's no wrinkles underneath. And then we're going to kind of pull the green piece out. And if you want, you could go ahead and press this if you want, but we're just going to pull it out. Okay. Whoops. And if you see, look how it slipped over here. Kind of slipped, so we're going to put that back up there. Make sure we hold it. And we press it out. Okay. And then this end should be close to 2 inches. On all the ones I've made, it's never come out exactly perfect. This one is about 1/4 of an inch off. So I think I'm just going to scooch him down just a pinch. Not a lot. Kind of split the difference. Okay. There we go. So that's going to be close enough. Now what we'll do is we're going to take our handles. Well, sort of missed a step. We want to make sure that the handles go in at the center, right? We don't want them to be skewed. So I'm going to take, this is 12 inches. We're going to line this up and I'm going to make a mark at 6 inches. So that's in the middle, if my pen will write. Okay. And do the same thing on this end. Okay. And if you see here, see how we know where the middle is, right? Is right there. So we're going to take and lay these down with the folded edge down. I'm going to set that seam right there on the half mark. Okay. And I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to pin it in place. I want to go through all those layers of fabric. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing on the other end. Again, my halfway mark is right there. I'm going to lay that down, and that doesn't look right. Let me just measure that again. Yep. I marked it at 5 inches instead of 6 inches, so. Okay. There we go. We're going to lay that right there in the middle. Set it down, and we're going to pin it in place. Okay. So now we've got the handles on there. The next thing we want to do is we're going to make the casing for our ruler. The way we're going to do, we're going to take it to the ironing board. We want to turn under about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And then I'm going to iron it. This does not have to be exact. If you notice, I'm not measuring it. I'm not making sure that it's perfect. I just want a little bit turned under. And then we're going to turn it under one more time. We want to bring this down to about 1/4, 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch over the green. Okay. We're going to set that there, and then we're going to press again. Okay. And I'm going to press that pretty good. I want that to be nice and crisp. If you want, you can pin this in place, or you don't have to. Okay, we're going to turn it around, and we'll do the same thing with the other side. Again, I'm going to go pretty quick. We're just going to turn this under. Okay, and then under again. Be careful if your pins have plastic heads on them. You don't want to touch it with the iron because they will melt. Okay. Now that we've got this turned under, what we're going to do is we're going to take it to our sewing machine and we're going to top stitch. And you want to just come in just a tiny bit, okay? Not even maybe 1/8 of an inch at the most. And we're going to stitch all the way down here on both ends, okay? So let me show you. I've got that already done. This is what it will look like when you're done with that. You can use matching thread. I used white just so that you could see what I had done and see how I've top stitched across here and at the other end. Okay, the next step is to start sewing the bag together. Okay, now is the time we're going to fold it right sides together. So we're going to fold it over here. We want to line up this corner. Okay, pin it. Okay, and then we want to kind of pull it down, okay, because we want it to be nice and flat. And I'm going to put another pin in here just to keep it together. Okay. Now you're going to take it over to your sewing machine and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, just like you would with any other kind of quilting. Remembering here at the beginning, you want to stitch 3 or 4 stitches forward and then back stitch off and then come again, because we are going to be turning the bag. There'll be some pressure on this seam, so make sure you do a little bit of back stitching. Another thing you can do, this is totally optional. This bag is going to have a raw edge on the inside, okay? We're not going to have another lining that we put on to cover this. So you may want to back stitch, or not back stitch, zigzag stitch this so that it holds these loose threads together and it doesn't unravel, okay? So when you take it to your sewing machine, this is what it's going to look like when you get it back. And I did go ahead and do a little zigzag stitch just to hold those together, okay? So we've only sewn on one side of the bag. At this point, we're going to place our tape measures. And the way we want to do them, we want them to be, I'm sorry, excuse me. We want the numbers to be facing up, okay? So I'm just going to take and slide this in here, like so, and turn it over, okay? Again, the numbers are up, and we're going to slide this in here. I forgot to put my glasses on, so I'm having a tough time seeing this. Okay, there we go. And you want to push the tape measure as far over to the sewn seam as possible. One thing I didn't mention, when you do your tape measure, you'll want to cut the little corners off so they're not quite as sharp, because you don't want it to cut the bag, okay? Excuse me. Once you get the tape measure in there, again, push them over as far as they'll go towards the sewn seam. You're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and now you'll sew this side, making sure that you don't hit this tape measure. We don't want to do that. Again, 3 or 4 stitches forward, backwards, all the way down, and if you want, you can zigzag that to keep it together. Okay. So now we have our bag. Here it is. This is a different fabric choice, of course. Now comes the moment of truth. We just want to turn it right side out. Okay. So there. And that is the bag. There is one other optional step that you can take. Let me show you the difference. Okay. So this is a flat bag. This would be good for like coloring books, crayons, you know, things like that. Or you can actually box the corner like I've done with this one. See how it kind of stands up? And this one would be good for putting bulkier things in. So how do we box the corners? Very, very simple. Let me turn this one back. So before you turn it right side out, okay, we have our bag just like this, right? Okay. What you're going to do, you're going to come down with your hand inside. We're going to take this corner and we want to kind of open it up like this. So here's the bottom of the bag. Here's the seam, and we want this to be kind of even. And then all you'll do is take a ruler. If you want to measure it, you can come down about an inch. So you'd come down an inch here, make a little mark, come across here, excuse me, mark a line here, and then take it over to your sewing machine and just stitch along that edge. And then that will give you the nice box corners like you have in this bag. So ta-da, you've finished making your bag and it's ready to be filled with wonderful toys to go to the Toys for Tots children. If you have any questions, if something's not clear, please let me know. You can leave something in the comments below, or better yet, come into the shop and let me know what you're having problems with, and I'd be more than happy to help you. I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you and that you will consider making, you know, 1 or 2, maybe 3 bags to help the children in our area. Again, all the toys collected will stay in the Northern Neck. Thank you so much for your attention today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.